Welcome to Securing America with me, Frank Gaffney, a program that we think of as a kind of owner's manual for protecting the country we love against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I'm very pleased to have with us to begin a conversation about some of those enemies, a man who, well, for some time was arguably in the enemy camp. He was a Marxist professor at the University of New York University, and has come a long way, baby, in the aftermath of having had the left turn on him, and has become really one of the most, I think, articulate and clear eyed critics of what the Marxists amongst us are up to. I want to commend to you all an absolutely superb example of Dr. Michael Rectenwald's work that appeared in the publication of Hillsdale College called Imprimis Magazine. Dr. Rectenwald, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on this print that goes out to several millions of Americans, and for the the opportunity to visit with you further about it all. Um, Talk a little bit, if you would, about your personal trajectory and the extent of the danger you think we face at the moment.
Yes, well, when I first encountered the social justice zealots at NYU, I was really a Marxist at that point, and uh, developments there and their character really uh, took me by surprise and also changed my trajectory. I realized what I was dealing with was a totalitarianism at base, and that these people were extremely um, dangerous. In effect, that we were dealing with something that, if it spread beyond the university, would become an evil that we would have to take care of, that we would have to deal with. And in fact, it has spread beyond the academy. I think it did originate there, and now it metastasized to the entire body politic. And so I think we're dealing with systemic evil, really.
I couldn't agree more. Um, let's talk a little bit about that evil in the context of what, as you've described in this essay, is the so-called Great Reset. Its character is something that it seems is a function of an unholy alliance between Marxists on the one hand and at least putative global capitalists. Tell us what they've got in mind and how far advanced it is, as you see it.
Yes, well, the Great Reset is a project that was initiated by the World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab, the chair and founder of it. It is a project to fundamentally alter our economic and political and social system. So, what we're looking at is a fundamental change in the nature of capitalism, as they say, a reset of capitalism. And really, what it involves is this alliance between the World Economic Forum, corporations, some 1,000 corporate partners, plus the UN and various governments throughout the world. So they're using, of course, very euphemistic and innocuous sounding language in order to inaugurate what would be a fundamental change to the entire economic and world system. They suggest that it's necessary on the basis of climate change. They say this is all for sustainability, but really there is a command principle at base, and that is they're dictating to people, companies, and individuals what they must do, and they're effectively aligning with states as well, with governments, and in effect, they're allowing this corporate state partnership to dictate policy that is not democratically decided upon whatsoever. So it really is quite authoritarian.
And this is where I guess you see the convergence between the left on the one hand, the communists in the case of China specifically, for whom these Davos guys seem to have considerable admiration in terms of their model, and yet.
Yes,
The capitalist dimension of it, I guess, makes more of a fascistic sort of arrangement they have in mind. But whatever it is, it's bad for freedom. That's for sure. And
that's right.
again, your standing against it is really appreciated, Dr. Rectenwald. Let me ask you about one of the things that I found striking from a government that has been increasingly, it seems, enamored of all of this, namely the administration of Joe Biden here in the United States. As you know, he gave a speech widely billed as the State of the Union. I describe it as the gaslight of the Union because so much of it seemed quite deceptive, dishonest, at least deflecting of attention from the real track record to something very different. How did you see this as a perhaps um, exercise in the kind of political warfare that you've described?
Yes, this was as you put it, this was a massive gaslighting episode, and an exemplary case of doublespeak, in which Biden was basically suggesting that all the problems that were attendant upon the country now, like the immigration problem, the production problem, the supply chain problem, the inflation problem, that these were all based on policies that had nothing to do with him. And the crimes in the streets, just outrageous crime and criminality. He's suggesting that we need to fix the border, as if he hasn't been the one responsible for actually opening the border to this complete onslaught of immigrants without vetting whatsoever. So, I mean, it was the most outrageous doublespeak I've seen, and it really is part and parcel of what a pathocracy or dictatorship by psychopaths, frankly, is characterized by. They're characterized by these kinds of gaslighting, doublespeak, and complete inversions of reality.
Yeah. Dr. Rectenwald, we only have a couple of minutes left, but when you look at this from the perspective of someone who has been inside the belly of this particular beast, who understands its agenda, and who is really very concerned about clearly its continuing progress towards realizing some of its ambitions, if not all of them, to dominate and control the rest of us. What are your most important recommendations about what we do now to counteract all this?
Well, yeah, I think that first of all, we need to resist this kind of euphemistic language that's being put out about environmental, social, and governance scores, and the ESG index, which is being applied to corporations in the stock markets, but which will be applied to us as individuals soon enough. We need to point out its character necessarily. We need to show how it is totalitarian at base. We need to keep the free market alive ourselves by engaging in parallel structures that of exchange, parallel economic, parallel media structures like this. We need to keep these and strengthen and fortify them and extend them as much as possible. And we need to resist
We
these
have to leave it
ESG
at that.
scores.
Dr. Reckenwald, thank you for your very important insights in this, and we look forward to further updates with you in the future. Keep up the great work, my friend. Come back to us again soon. Next up, we will be speaking with another former leftist about the efforts to take us down from within.